The aeroplane is a feat of modern engineering, a symbol of humanity's ongoing innovation, a gateway to anywhere in the world, and a condemnation to screaming babies, a constant whirring drone, and a megalopolis of bacteria. Whichever you choose to believe more in, these top 10 terrifying facts show just how screen crawling the fruit of a modernization can be. So welcome to Brain Charger, the place where you have come to energize your brain. Brain Charger presents top 10 terrifying facts about aeroplanes which you have to know before you get on a plane. So stay tuned till the end of this video to know about the top 10 terrifying facts about aeroplanes. If you haven't subscribed to Brain Charger, please do hit on the subscribe button. And without any further ado, let's get started. Number 10. There is no safest seat. Every plane crash is unique and safest seat is impossible to calculate until the wreck actually occurs. The most advantageous position will be dependent on the type of accident. It varies if the jet succumbs to a nosedive, rolls or land on a water. However, estimations have been made on the most secure place to be. Researchers found that the middle seats near the rear of the plane had the lowest fatality rates at 28% in this comparison to a rate of 44% in aisle seats in the middle of the plane. Ultimately, one's lifetime chance of being in a plane crash is 1 in 1,800 in comparison to 1 in 112 in a car. So these statistics may just be clutching at straws. Number 9. The toilet is not the dirtiest place. That the location people go to relieve themselves is not the dirtiest place on a plane is surely an alarming statistic. A 2015 study by Travel Math found that although flush handles had 265 bacteria colony forming units per square inch, there were two other gut-wrenching locations with even more pathogens. Seat back trays were the most heavily bacteria colonized places on the aircrafts, with 2,155 CFU per square inch. That's an eye-opening 8 times higher than flush handles. This is likely because of cleaning limitations between flight staffs have the opportunity to remove rubbish but not to perform a more thorough sterilization. Distinguishedly, an urban university found that the bacteria in this location lasted for longer than any other, at 7 days. Overhead vents were also less than hygienic, at 285 CFU, while seatbelt buckles and headrests also raised red flags. With between 150 and 350 people on board each flight, the potential for germ spreading is almost infinite and horrid. Number 8. The plastic-wrapped blanket might not be new. An inquiry by the Wall Street Journal's unit of investigative journalists found that the majority of these polyester fleeces were washed merely once each 5 to 30 days. On top of this, they are reused between washes for a slew of individual passengers. One lucky passenger will be fortunate enough to receive the blanket on the magical day that it is cleansed, but each thereafter will be subjected to increasing bouts of nastiness. Federal law requires that these measly quills are treated with a chemical flame retardant, but this is the single requirement of the industry. Most people regard cellophane-wrapped blankets as being clean, but lab testing of sealed blankets has shown yeast, mold, and other bacteria. Laundry employees for one airline have also stated that only 20% of blankets are washed. What's worse, some airlines are charging their passenger for blankets. Take my advice and BYOB, bring your own blanket. Number 7. Pilots sometimes fall asleep at the controls. Boredom at work is one of the most prolific issues that can plague some employees, but a plane cockpit isn't exactly the ideal place to catch some shut-eye. A survey was conducted by the European Cockpit Association in 2012. It involved 6,000 pilots being assessed for a fatigue barometer. 3 out of 5 pilots in Sweden and Norway admitted to making mistakes in their line of work due to fatigue. And in Germany, the statistic was 4 out of 5. But there were many more alarming figures involved. More than 40% of British pilots confessed to visiting slumberland at the controls of a passenger jet. Even more drastically, 1 out of 3 of these admitted to wake up and finding their co-pilot also comatose. Although pilots are permitted to catch some Z's while flying, at least one pilot must be awake at all times. The result was so extensive that the ACA described it as the most common, dangerous and underreported phenomenon in Europe until COVID-19 arrived. That is, although the underreported aspect doesn't exactly transfer. Number 6. You may be flying with only one engine. Transoceanic flights have typically been flown by 3 or 4 engine wide-body airliners. Aviation reasoning dictates that there is strength in numbers, but these multi-engine jets are becoming extinct and are replaced by more fuel-efficient 2-engine aircraft. Modern engineering prevents engine failure from being a regular occurrence. But even if one were to fail, today's jets can take off, fly and land with just one engine. Even if dual failure occurred, a plane can glide perfectly without. As long as air is passing over its wing, the bird will remain in flight, and so a plane with no propulsion will change its altitude for this to continue. It can even remain in the air for between 20 and 30 minutes before reaching the ground. Number 5. Turbulence is getting worse. Umpteen airbound travelers are aware of the unfortunate scenario: a sudden public announcement, a maddening dash to fasten seatbelts, and a topple of cranks to the floor. Air turbulence is already a nuisance, and it won't be succumbing anytime soon. And the irony of the predicament is difficult to ignore. According to a paper established in the Environmental Science and Technology Journal, planes are 50 times worse than cars per passenger mile in times of a 5-year warming impact. And so, planes are creating their own problem just by their very existence. Number 4. The water is not so crystal. In the aforementioned expose on aircraft, bacteria was not vehement enough. Consider this: the substance that you ingest on a plane, namely water, may not be taintless. A 2019 airline water study investigated the quality of tap water in both major and regional US carriers. And the researchers were in for a startling conclusion. They found varying levels of E. coli and coliform, both of which are present in feces. And in the aircrafts, this water is supplied through faucets in the galley and lavatories. The water used to wash one's hands and make hot beverages, including coffee and tea. Suddenly, it's easy to understand why many flight attendants intentionally don't share in the joy of consuming these delightful refreshments. Number 3. Your food may have been cooked 3 days before you consume it on board. It's not exactly cloak and dagger that dishes served on aircraft are bland, unappetizing, and generally the yuckiest thing known to man. What is not customary is finding 1,500 food violations over a period of 4 years, as was experienced by the FDA between 2008 to 2012. The organization investigated a number of separate food preparation facilities, all of which supply airlines, finding the following on numerous occasions: dirty utensils, mice, roaches, ants, feces, moldy products, and unrefrigerated food. Scientists, however, shows that the sensational transfer using plastic cutlery causes food to taste worse. Finally, supposed freshly prepared food may have been cooked between 12 and 72 hours before you consume it. Number 2. You may only have 90 seconds to escape a burning plane. Although pathogens are indeed disgusting, they are incomparably less likely to kill you than an unaflamed plane. Not to spread utter panic, but the Federal Aviation Administration obligates that a plane can be evacuated in 1 minute and 30 seconds. The reason: this is the time it takes for fire to engulf and spread through an aircraft cabin. To maximize your chances, sitting within 5 rows of an exit is the most strategical option. Otherwise, that can be left to your imagination. Number 1. Your oxygen mask will only last between 12 and 20 minutes. That's right, those precious oxygen masks, although not as cherished as COVID-19 face masks, only buy you between 12 and 20 minutes of breathing. Unfortunately, this is usually a significant enough duration for your pilot to guide the plane to an altitude at which the supplementary oxygen isn't necessary. The alleged oxygen does not actually start out as this, but is instead stored as a cocktail of chemicals and converted to breathable gas. If you dare to step onto a plane without wearing a hazmat suit ever again, good luck, you brave soul. Thank you for watching till the end of this video. If you have liked the video, please do hit on the like button, and if you haven't subscribed to Brain Charger, please do subscribe and share it with your friends and families. And when you're sharing the video, you're not only sharing this video, you're sharing a piece of knowledge.